Venture City, your source for innovative ideas as told by founders. Today's guest, Alexandra DeVoe, created a digital platform that empowers users to seamlessly spend quality time together in real life. I'm Victoria Principato, and this is Venture City.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the energy. It's a beautiful day in New York. There's a lot to be excited about.
Oh, plenty to be excited about. That Friday feeling, a little bit in the air.
100%.
And I'm lucky that we're not recording visuals. We're just going to use the audio, but I can see we're
Perfect.
both in our Friday casual hoodies. So I'm glad you got the memo. Well, thank you. Yeah, again, so much for joining. I would love to learn a little more about you and for our listeners to learn a little bit more about what you're working on.
Absolutely. So to start off, my name is Ali. I'm originally from Hong Kong. I was born and raised there with Canadian parents, going to an international American school. And then I was at NYU Shanghai for the first year and a half. After that, NYU Paris, spent some time in San Francisco, and now I am at NYU Tandon. And I give this context because it's important to show that the way I see the whole world and the way I see problems, the good and the bad, is very much through an international lens. So that problem that I always dealt with was being around the world, different people. And the one thing that I felt really connected to everyone was time. Photos, videos, games, whatever are really, really wonderful. But there's something so beautiful about the quality of time, and quality time being a love language. That really was like the constant strength throughout all cultures and places and people. And on one hand, it can be so rewarding to be with people in those moments, late nights, hanging out with friends, finding those cool dinner spots, going on a run. The other end brings to feel like you can't spend time with your friends and family, or feeling that you guys are too busy. So with this in mind, my co-founders and I, whom we actually grew up together in Hong Kong, decided to start Summer Somehow just about 3 months ago to help connect and find friends who you haven't been able to find these times to hang out with. So we're building a social calendar tool that helps you find time to hang out with your friends in this insanely busy back-to-back school, life, work, social planning. Gen Zs now use their calendars now more than ever post-COVID because our worlds are now blended. Like we've got online and in person, so calendars are becoming more important. And we just want people to be able to hang out with their friends again.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I loved hearing a little bit more about where you're from and what kind of shaped your desire to want to start somewhere somehow. And I can definitely say, like, I've run into that issue plenty of times with my friends. Like, I have friends who are nurses who work night shifts. And so I just can't always keep up with where they are. And like even my family too. So it's really nice to hear that you're trying to do something to resolve that issue across so many different spaces. So I can definitely relate to why you like what inspired you to start your company. Can you tell me a little bit more in detail about the problem that Somewhere Somehow solves? Like, how does someone using your platform fit in more time with friends?
100%. So our first beta that we released last week is an iOS test flight app that allows you to simply add your friends, add all your friends have connected their calendars on there. And in the same way, you can imagine like Find My Friends meets When to Meet. So imagine you're like selecting your friends. And as you select each friend, it has your calendar and it's able to show you these specific times embedded into your already existing calendar when X amount of people that you've selected are all free to meet up, including yourself.
Wow.
So let's say I add Jenny, Sarah, Max, and Ken. If I take out Ken, it's going to give me different solutions because it removed his calendar. If I add then Stacy and Veronica, it's going to add two more people. It keeps changing because we understand that you've got dynamic calendars. Once you make a time, select the time, Google Calendar, invite, all that sort of stuff. And that's really just our proof of concept, the prototype we've got so far. Our greater vision is not just an iOS app because we understand that people make plans across all sorts of things. If it's not something my 80-year-old grandmother would use in Toronto, or one of my people that I babysat in Hong Kong who's like 9 years old would be like, we can't make it. It's because people use different platforms. So our greater vision is to be this time neutral platform that's able to integrate different platforms socially, but also with every part of your life where you're able to plan your time.
Wow, I love that. So sorry, just to kind of clarify for us non-tech folk, this right now currently integrates with just Google Calendar, or is there?
Yeah.
Okay, very
Exactly.
cool.
So right now we start with Google Calendar. It's a little expensive with all the other, like Google API calls is like the cheapest. We've got a lot of credits there. Of course, Outlook is of course something we want to bring on to Cron. There's a bunch of calendars out there, but Google's where we started with because we started with 4 cohorts: NYU, Princeton, NYC, and San Francisco. And we established that it wasn't going to be too much of a barrier for entry just to like get some feedback and experiments with starting with Google, but definitely, of course, there's a bunch of other calendars out there that people use.
Right. I would say Google is one of the more common ones, though. So I think that's a
Sure.
really awesome starting point. Have you actually gotten to use your own platform yet? What's it been like for you? And have you kind of, gotten to execute on your own tool?
Oh, absolutely. So
Tell me about the
within
time you've
goodness,
used it.
no, I use it all the time. I laugh because within downloading it, like I'm 20, I have fun. I'm in New York,
You
and
should.
someone who I was maybe kind of ish with, sort of,
Oh,
we
someone we're
weren't we
seeing.
weren't trying to hang out, but then he sent me a side date sort of thing because he saw that I was free. If he saw he was free, so we could kind of zoom into the calendar. I was like, oh, okay, so like new versions of dating, because like on Hinge and other stuff too, they ask you when you're free. It's like, oh, like now you can do that. Had a lot of study sessions. I went to a World Cup somewhere somehow, like hangout kind of date, which was cool.
Uh-huh.
Done a bunch of fun stuff. Like it's just cool. You just send your invites. The funny thing too, though, is like, because like we're having different cohorts on here, we see how many events or stuff and created. It's cool to see this narratives, people doing like game nights, study sessions, being able to go ahead and
Mm,
do like lunches that like you might have not known were going to happen because you didn't know your friends are free. But now that you know your friends are free, you're able to just like select your friends super casually, go on walks. Like it's so much easier. Like this whole
that's so
texting
nice.
back and forth to not always just, it feels icky from both ends. Like you don't want to have to
Yeah.
say no to your friends. You just want to like know when you're both free and have it work.
Right. And that is definitely a gap that I had never kind of considered before. But I would be interested to know if this is something that you're creating social gatherings outside using a digital platform outside of the digital space. I wonder if there might be a space for like a digital element to your platform. Like, oh, I can see that everyone XYZ did a popcorn party or something. And oh, wait, that gives me the idea that I want to go do that sometime with my friends. Wondering if that's something
For
that you're
sure.
considering expanding into, or is that outside of your scope?
Yes, so I would say, to me at least, that sounds a little bit more like social media. And something I'm
Right.
quite adamant about is not being a social platform, a social media
Okay,
platform. Like
interesting.
even the thought of downloading an app is so icky to me. Like we're all done with social media, seeing your friends hang out. Like even be real, like this whole trend of like only having close friends on there is something that's so good for me. Like I'm a social person, but to be honest, I'm probably only gonna have like 10 friends on somewhere somehow. Like I don't want
Mhm.
more than 10 people seeing how like when I'm free, all that sort of thing. And there's like that's how you operate. So there is a social element that can be implemented, but at the very core, we very much are a tool and not a try to like a FOMO or like fear of missing out sort of platform.
I like that a lot. No, it sounds like you're really targeted there. And I think that's definitely something that people need to kind of focus on, like more that in-person close friend interaction. So that makes it a little more streamlined. That's awesome. So where can people eventually download or use somewhere somehow? And I guess what stage are you in? And yeah, when can people download it?
For sure. So we're in beta invite only right now. We're going to be opening it up more around like February. We're doing an IMS extension next as well, because then that's another way people make plans very frequently, like in that little pop-up area. And you can download somewhere somehow and keep posted on swshcal.com, somewhere somehow cal.com, and follow our Insta, TikTok, all that fun stuff as well. And of course, reach out to me at any time. So my two co-founders and I are focusing on what we're going to be growing in 2023. Like 2022 has been very quick so far. It's been like 3 months. We're just excited to build and talk to our users, iterate on that. Like we are quick, we're builders, we all have engineering backgrounds. We're also very extroverted as well. So that sort of dynamicism between being introverted and building, but also getting quick feedback loops and seeing the virality content and really improving those lives, those moments of feeling like, damn, I can hang out with my 6 friends that I went to college with way more easier now because now I know they're free, is something that's really close and near and dear to our heart. So we're excited for that North Star.
That's so exciting. Well, I'm super excited to, get the chance to use somewhere somehow and make my
Yes,
planning a little bit easier. And I'll definitely
absolutely.
be sure to include all of those details in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about somewhere somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone here can resonate with the feeling of being so busy, being frustrated to be told no, that you can't hang out with your friends. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen again. You're able to spend quality time with people you really care about. And that's what we're solving for. So if that's something you resonate with, please do reach out. We'd love to hear about your story, why you think it's frustrating, and what social dynamics come into planning your time as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.